Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and here we have some new Kansept models we're going to check out for the first time. This is the NESSTREET. I've checked out a different NESSTREET before. Yeah, these things are very, very comfortable in the hand. The blade shape's going to be extremely useful. A NESSMUCK is actually designed for outdoors use, but this is like kind of like a modified NESSMUCK blade, and because of the swedge that beaks down right there, it's going to be super useful for EDC. The edge doesn't have too much taper, so it's going to go really good for slicing. You can turn it around and cut straps. 154 cm blade steel, and then it's got this coating on it. I'm guessing it's like a titanium nitride coating or something. Then it has perfect access to the lock bar, nice comfortable disengagement, good size stop pin, milling on the inside, not heavy milling, but it does have some milling on the inside. Deep carry clip, not reversible, but it does have a deep carry clip. And yeah, the action's really good. Detent is well tuned. Sharpening choil is decent, you know, not bad. I wish the screws were flat instead of button screws, but not that big of a deal. And I wish it was T8s instead of T6s. But yeah, the thumb slide action's really, really good. Very smooth. It's just breaking in, so it's only going to get, you know, smoother and smoother and smoother. And Kansepts, so a lot of them tend to get very smooth, but these ergonomics is where this thing's at. This thing is, I know might not look at it or look like it just looking at it, but man, this thing just nestles right into your hand. Maybe that's why it's called the NESSTREET. It nestles so nicely in your hand. You can always choke up to get nice and close to the edge. I could bear down on this long term for sure. So yeah, this one's pretty awesome. You know, the look of it, you know, it's not completely my style as far as, you know, attractiveness, but as far as use, you know, I think that this thing would be really, really awesome as a work knife, an you know, light duty outdoors knife, or, you know, just a basic EDC. Now the next one we're getting a bit wild. This is the COLIBRI Tech, and it is nearly 10 inches long. We have a 4 3/4 inch blade from the tip to the heel of, you know, to about right here. And the total length is like 9 3/4. This thing is ridiculous, and I love it. Micro milling on both sides, even on the lock bar. Gotta love that. It has somewhat of a starburst pattern. The clip, great clip, by the way. I did slide it in and out of the pocket. Kansept can do some pretty good clips. Now, opened up, you can see just in my hand how much handle's still sticking out. I can grab it back here and kind of do some light duty chopping. Some would call this a reverse tanto. I would call this a sheep's foot or a modified clip point. It's a modified blade, period. But lots of cutting edge there, man. Holy cow, you got some cutting edge. And then you got a nice, relatively stout tip that's also pokey enough for good utility cutting use. Yeah, man, this one's cool for the guys that like a nice long knife or big knife, but this is more longer because it's not big in any other dimension. It's just long and sleek. You could definitely get some reach with this thing, I'll say that. Let's talk about the action. So you have flipping deployment, which works good. You know, I can tell they had to tune the detent for all 3 deployments because it does have, you know, the front flipper as well. So I can fail it, you know, but with any intention whatsoever, I would never fail it. You know, I have to, you know, kind of intentionally fail it. Maybe if you first grabbed it and didn't know the detent, you might do that. But once you know the detent, it's good. Then you have the thumb studs, which, you know, sometimes Kansept's thumb studs are a little slippery in my opinion. I wish they had more grip to them. This is fine. You know, I have no problems with this, but I'm just saying overall, like I have some Kansepts that I just wish had better thumb studs, or not better, but just more grippier thumb studs. This is not bad, but I do wish this was chamfered a little bit. I feel like the studs are a little bit tight to the scale, and not in any extreme kind of way. It's fine. I can obviously flick it, no problem, but it'd be nice if there was a little chamfer there. Then the front flipper. Now, The front flipper, I think, could have been a little bit bigger. So it's short, as you can see, and the problem with that is that when I get to that low, the flipper's right there. So while I can get past it and I can do it, this is higher than right here. If this was taller, I could go up higher here, and then my hand right here would scoot down a little bit. But I just, I just think it deserves to be a little bit longer. Now, like I said, I can still do it, as you see. It's just, it could be a little bit longer. But it's still useful. Perfect centering. I already checked the lockup. Lockup's rock solid. The access to the lock bar is really good. They did a generous amount. Nice little chamfer right there. Nice and comfortable disengagement. The texturing on the handle is really nice. This is deep. Nice deep micro milling. This is not minimal. But you don't feel it like in the pocket. It's fine going in and out of the pocket. Now the smoothness, it's a heavy blade being how long it is, so it's very, very smooth. Not a guillotine, but it is brand new, so it's still breaking in. But all in all, man, super duper cool, man. I like seeing knives like this. It's a little different. They got pretty extreme lanyard hole right there. I guess it matches the size of the knife though, right? But the geometry, not the sliciest, but it's also not bad. It's gonna cut just fine. It's gonna be a relatively tough edge with, with some decent cutting performance. No problems there. The utility cuts, you can get long utility cuts, or far away utility cuts, I should say. Now the blade steel's S35VN Kansept, does a lot of S35VN. The cool thing with S35VN, sometimes people don't give it as much credit as it deserves. And I say that in that we see a price tag and we're like, oh, it's S35VN. I see other knives that have S35VN, it should be cheaper or something like that, right? But the thing is that, S35VN is pretty easy for companies to consistently get heat treated well. It was made for knives. So it's literally a steel that's good quality for pocket knives as far as for edge tools, for knives. And as far as being done in a production setting where it's heat treated on a large scale. So, for people that complain about heat treat HRCs and stuff like that, you should be pretty happy to see S35VN in many cases, because it's going to hold a good edge. It's got a lot of toughness, or a decent amount of toughness. It's nice and corrosion resistance. It's a very well-rounded steel. In all reality, it is a very well-rounded steel. Now, it's not going to hold an edge as long as maybe some steels, but that goes for all steels pretty much. And just like, some of the most edge retention steels might not hold the most toughness, or have the most corrosion resistance. There's always a give and a take. And S35 is a nice, well-rounded steel, so I think it's perfect for this application. Sharpening it, you got a nice big blade, but it'll be easy to sharpen. The only problem I have, my biggest complaint, is the sharpening tool plunge grind. The plunge grind tapers to the edge. I wish it did not do that. Now, stop pin is not in the way. It must be an internal stop pin. Yeah, it's got an internal stop pin right here, which is cool. So basically, the lockup's nice too. But basically you could cut in your own choil if you really, really wanted to, but you'll get about one sharpening in there and you'll start hitting the plunge. By the second sharpening, you'll really start creating damage back here, or, not damage, but you'll see your stone cutting into the plunge grind. So then at that point, it'll be your choice if you want to cut in a new choil. If you put a super high angle, you could probably get a couple good sharpenings before it really, really starts showing. But most people are going to want to put a relatively low angle on this, So, that's why I'm saying that, because especially if you want to put a really low angle, well, then you are definitely going to make a smile back here. Anyways, I think it's cool just because, it is a little different. It's not something we see every day. Lots of milling on the inside. And the cutout, this is awesome. The cutout for the lock bar is on the inside. I shouldn't have closed that. See, the cutout is on the inside instead of the outside. That's really cool. That's also what helps this clip stay nice and smooth. And they didn't put a ton of tension on it, so it's super smooth. A good clip goes a long way with me, because if the clip does not work well, I won't carry it. I won't carry it. I have too many knives. Too many knives with good clips to carry a knife with a bad clip that's going to shred my pants. Pants are entirely way too expensive these days to be, shredding my pockets on brand new jeans. So anyways, I think it's pretty cool, but just for a little size comparison, check this out. Look at the difference in this size. This thing dwarfs this knife, and this is a full-size knife, by the way. This is not a small knife. You can see I got room on the back end and the front end of the ergonomics. So anyways, work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.